Okay, welcome to the Thursday, January 25th chat. We have a number of announcements. If I've missed anybody or they haven't gotten an acknowledgement back, send me a note in the chat now. So we'll start with Sharon Gouveia.
Hi, everyone. I have some breaking news. There has been a murder in Riverdale, and the police there have reached out to the Newbridge community to help solve the murder of Harmony Ashcroft. Under the leadership of our chief investigator, Nancy Vega, and her capable right-hand man, Joe Zogales, we will be challenged to observe the details, check the witness statements, and solve the crime. We will meet on Saturday, February 3rd at 2 o'clock in Great Meadow Hall to put our collective minds together to bring justice for Harmony. See you there.
So do we need to register, Sharon?
Nope, just come. It's a Saturday social from the Community Life and the Hospitality Committee.
Thank you. Christina Rice.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to let you guys know that we're going to be offering a new class starting on Tuesdays at 1:15 in the gym. It's going to be called Better Mobility. It is a collaboration between the outpatient clinic and the fitness team, and it's going to focus on the basics of mobility, which really focuses on lower body strength, range of motion, and coordination. As always, all classes are first come, first serve, and we ask that you get there on time. Doors will close when class starts at 1:15. So again, Better Mobility, Tuesday, 1:15 in the gym. Thanks.
Thank you. And Tara Fleming Caruso.
Hi, just reminding the community that the Woke Center's rescheduled presentation is next Wednesday, the 31st of January from 12 to 1. It's on Zoom. They will be helping us understand how they evaluate, diagnose, and provide support for patients and families. Call the help desk if you want to RSVP. Thanks so much.
Hey, Larissa Levitch.
Thank you, Jerry. So a few things that I would like to mention today. First of all, 2 weeks ago, I've noticed a huge action on Google Groups, people being interested in going to see Golda's balcony with Annette Miller. And based on this dynamics that I've been observing, I asked Susan to explore it. And we secured discounted tickets for a group of 10 or more for February 28th at 2 p.m. So the discounted price is $75. We are still accepting reservations for a few more days. So please let us know if you're interested. Once again, it is February 28th at 2 o'clock, and the discounted price of the ticket is $75. Many of you shared with me that you saw Annette Miller years ago because she's an original Golda. The production was made for her years ago. And I find it's very symbolic that they're doing it now again. And she's super excited. I exchanged emails with Annette and she's super excited. And just take advantage of the fact that it's not on Broadway, that it is in Boston. This is number one. Another thing that I'd like to mention, actually, I am making an announcement on behalf of our Newbridge photography group. Next week, next Thursday, February 1st, we will have an opening of an exhibit of our own Tom Quay, who happened to be a multi-talented, very creative person. One of his talents is photography. So he shared with me that he had chosen his favorite photographs. I saw a handful. They are amazing, but we're gonna do it in the pre-pandemic tradition. You will have an opportunity to see the exhibit, to speak with the author, but then also to have a social interaction over a glass of wine and cheese in our art studio. So the exhibition opening is at 4:00, and I hope to see many of you. I have one more piece, but I'd like Josh to be the first, and I will just follow in his steps about one piece of what the programming team and food and beverage team are having brewing together.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll get back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lori Feldman.
Thank you, Jerry. Hi, everyone. I am here to announce a new LGBTQ plus conversation group. We are meeting for the first time next Tuesday, January 30th, from 3:30 to 4:30 in the Beal Family Interfaith Chapel. This conversation group is in response to many different requests from community members who are interested in more opportunities for discussion, education, support around LGBTQ topics. And so we're starting this conversation group. It's going to be facilitated by Miriam Priven, who is our HSL more letters here, HSL LGBTQ plus chaplain, and myself and Rabbi Judy. So next Tuesday, January 30th at 3:30 in the Beal Family Interfaith Chapel. No need to RSVP, just please come and drop in. Future meetings will be monthly on the third Tuesday of the month. Thanks so much.
So before we have a question from Barbara Joyce Orkin. Go ahead. Unmute Joyce. Go ahead.
I'm really happy to hear that this group is forming. I just wish that you would announce these things more than a week in advance. If I can't come the first week, can I come other times?
Joyce, yes, absolutely. Thank you for your feedback. But this is a drop-in group, so you can come whenever you can make it. You don't have to commit to every single month. So if you can't make it this time, I'm actually not able to make it for the entire meeting this coming Tuesday. So, but I plan on being at subsequent meetings. So come when you can.
And will this meeting be on the program, whatever week it's going to be?
In the calendar?
In the calendar?
Yes, it's on the calendar for next week, and it will be whenever we have it on the third Tuesday of the month. And we did send out a flyer either yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday, and we'll send out one or two more reminders before the event itself.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Weinstein, go ahead. Unmute.
Larissa,
Yes.
my brother has been talking to Susan about a bus trip to the Yiddish Center in Amherst. And I was wondering if you would ask now if there is interest in people going to the Yiddish Center.
Sure, happy to ask. So you know that it is a really very unique library in Amherst. It's the Yiddish Center, Yiddish Book Center. I've been there and I was in awe of their collection and the history behind that. I would say that I don't keep me responsible, but I would say that the drive there in one direction is around 2 hours, maybe more.
Hour and a half.
Hour
But
and a half.
if you stop for a restroom, if you don't have a bus with toilet facilities, it's 2 hours.
Okay, this is what I remember. I drove the car, so there were no toilet ability. Anyway, to make it short, so if anything like what I envision, potentially that it is probably a day trip, like leaving in the morning, driving for 2 hours, probably having lunch first, then going to the exhibition and then returning home at night. So with understanding that 4 hours out of the day are going to be spent on the bus. I am not asking for commitment, but because Bob encouraged me, please raise your hand if it is something that you might be interested in.
And you have to look at the second page.
Okay, so I see one person on the first page. Hold on. I see two people on the first page. I see one person on the third page. Okay. I see 4 people out of 93. Okay. I thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay.
Oh, Rabbi Judy, I missed your call again. Do you have anything to say before we move on?
Thank you for recognizing that I have difficulty remembering to let you know in advance. I didn't want to put myself to shame again, so Laurie made the announcement, and I don't have anything more to say, but thanks for thinking of me.
Okay. All right. So we come to Eileen O'Donoghue and Josh Ferrara.
Hi, Jerry. Thank you. Everyone's just stuck with me. Eileen has a training up in Burlington this afternoon that she's already left for. And unfortunately, I didn't practice my Irish accent. So you're just going to get it and the plain vanilla delivery from me. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone who attended this past Monday's wind down trip to Switzerland. I also want to thank a lot of maybe what the community may not see, some behind the scenes support, certainly from the housekeeping team, Sarah's team, along with Shirley and the housekeepers had to help us set up. It was a flip that afternoon. I did definitely see Nancy Vega helping out with some support as well. Nancy, thank you. And Sharon, all of the ideas and planning and collaboration has been amazing. So thank you. And we look forward to our next voyage, and stay tuned for details on our destination in the upcoming weeks. We're working on the new seasonal dinner menu change for Centro. The anticipated launch date for that is Monday, February 12th. So you can stay tuned to these Zoom gatherings and the dining website for more details and menu previews in the upcoming weeks. Just a quick reminder, if your plans change, please contact the reservation if you need to cancel, adjust your reservation to an existing reservation, including time, date, or number of guests, just out of respect to the entire community. The host team does their best to try and confirm daily, but they're making calls and not always making contact. And they're also receiving a lot of calls for to-go orders and reservations that interrupt. So if your plans change, please let us know. We prefer having advance notice, but even if it's last minute, just give the team a shout and let them know. And then finally, what Larissa had alluded to is next Wednesday, January 31st, is the Kosher Breakfast at Night in Great Meadow Hall. We are very appreciative of the collaboration because there will actually be entertainment, which I'm going to let Larissa jump in on a little bit more details. But space is always limited, so reservations, as always, are strongly recommended. And you can view that menu tomorrow. It will be on the dining website and in the Nosh weekly menu. You'll see that menu for next Wednesday. But it's a breakfast at night dairy kosher meal in Great Meadow Hall. Larissa, did you want to talk a little bit about the wonderful entertainment you lined up for us?
Sure. Thank you, Josh. So I'd like to share with you that it's going to be an unusual musical garnish to this dinner. I'm doing something that I've never done before, and I would appreciate the feedback. I'm actually bringing a DJ. His specialty is music of the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And what I love about him, that he is professionally trained classical and jazz pianist. And you had an opportunity to meet him last week if you came to Crisanti Papa's concert, because he happened to be nephew of Crisante. So I encouraged him to come last week so he can meet you guys. And apparently I've heard that you appreciated him performing. He played a few songs. So he's gonna do a little bit of playing, but mostly DJing. And what he shared with me is like a menu. You can come, it's very casual, and ask him to sing to play whatever song you wish, and he will be able to accommodate you. So let's see how it goes. I would appreciate a feedback. I am planning to be there with you to see how it goes. So I think it's going to be fun. I encourage you to try it with us because this is something new that we collaborate, our teams collaborate on. So thank you.
Thank you. Carol Marlin has her hand up. Go ahead. Unmute. Oh, we have to. I'll unmute you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well said,
Okay,
Carol.
you can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, good. I wasn't in, this was really a reference to an announcement that was made 2 weeks ago. Last week I was in a position to respond to it. And I wasn't going to, but my daughter-in-law, who's a conservation biologist, said, Carol, it's your duty, you have to respond. So I am going to respond. And this is in regards to 2 weeks ago, it was announced the new microwavable plastic containers that we would be getting our food in, and that they were safe for microwaves. Now, everybody has a right to decide what their brain cells want to look like, but we all have heard how we're all vulnerable to plastic. And I don't know about you, but I want to treasure every healthy brain cell I have, or if I'm going to destroy it, I'll do it in a more fun way than how I microwave. The plastic containers that were given are in no way safe and reinforced against the plastic that goes into microwave. I have to say that the safest way is to use a paper plate that comes into your house, take it out of the plastic, add another paper plate on top, and eat from that plate, throw it away, or use a ceramic dish. But using plastic in your microwave is not the healthiest thing you can do. And that's what I want to just comment on. And even if it's safe by some places will say it's safe, we know that in our country we haven't been very good. We were the last to outlaw PPAs and all the unsafe plastics that are in our environment. And that was my message. Okay. And I wouldn't have cared, but I have a friend who I mentioned this to. We were sitting at dinner, and she said she microwaves in this plastic. So just know you make up your own mind on what's safe. Speak to your kids about it.
Thank you. Josh, do you have any comment on this particular?
No, I think Carol summed it up very well. I think it is a personal choice. You know, I don't propose what's safe for each individual. And now I just mean that the vendor and the manufacturer has deemed that it is appropriate to put it in the microwave. Whether you choose to heat your food up, absolutely agree with Carol. Make your own choices. Even if you're on the fence about it and you have a plate at home, I think it makes perfect sense to put it into a different dish and microwave it on a non-plastic thing. So again, personal choice. I think Carol summed it up very well. And thank you for speaking up, Carol.
Okay.
Thanks. Mitch Freeman.
They say they're microwavable safe, the plastic, but they still leach into the food. They don't
Yes.
tell you about that. It's safe to, the plastic can withstand the heat of the microwave, but it's petrochemicals and it leaches into your food. It's not safe. It does get into your food. So it's misinterpreted. The containers are safe. They won't melt in the microwave, but they still will bleach into your food. There's no such thing as safe plastic. And that's a thing. Some are safer than others, but nothing is safe that will not leach in. The water bottles, the water leaches into your water. All that stuff. There's no safe plastic. That's the bottom line, no matter what they say.
Okay. Betty Shapiro.
Yeah, I thought the advantage to those new containers were that they were recyclable. I don't remember it being promoted as something that was safe to use in the microwave, more so that we could recycle these items.
Thank Betty, yeah, spot on. The reason for the switch was definitely so that it can be recycled, rinsed and recycled and put with your other recyclables. This conversation about what's safe and what's not, and the medical out there had come up before. All I can say is that the manufacturer says they are appropriate to be put in the microwave. Whether they're safe for your own consumption or your health concerns is for everyone to make their own choice. But Betty,
Hey, I think we're going to
absolutely.
leave that. We'll take Terry Union and then we're going to move off that subject because we don't have, we're giving out information that you can use your own judgment on, but we don't have anybody who can give as their profession a definitive answer. So Terry Union, go ahead. The
issue is you don't have to use your dishes or plastic or whatever. Remember Pyrex? Do you have glass dishes like that where you bake in? And I mean, that's what I use. I put the food in the glass dish and put it in the microwave. So I don't know who the expert is here on the situation, but I think we all know that putting plastic containers with our food in the microwave is not a sensible, healthy thing to do.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, on that subject, and I'm glad it came up. Matt Hollingshead, we're ready for you.
All right, hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I had an experience recently that really made me appreciate not only working here at Newbridge, but knowing that a place like Newbridge exists. I wanted to share it with you. So I had to fly to Portland, Oregon Thursday night for something in the family. And I got there very late Thursday night, about 3 a.m. our time. And on Friday afternoon, I received a notice that my flight home on Sunday had been canceled and that the airline would rebook me and they'll send me another email. So I patiently waited. A couple hours went by and the email showed up and it said, "We're sorry to inform you, we do not have any flight options for you. Your best option is to book on another airline." So it really left me in a spot. And so I ended up finding a flight for $700 and 3 layovers just to get back here 2 a.m. Sunday morning. And whenever I called customer service, talked to them in the airport, nobody cared. There was not a care in the world. And the whole time I was going through this thing, I kept on thinking about what we do here at Newbridge and how we work as a community and how we would never, ever, ever let somebody hang out there like that. So I texted my boss. It was kind of funny. We had a good moment because I texted her and I said, I'm going to try to be in on Monday. I'm probably going to be a little jet lagged, might be a little bit of a mess. Here's what's going on. And she was absolutely understanding. And at the same time, I said to her, this would never, ever be allowed at Newbridge. And it just got me thinking the way that customer service is being handled in the world outside of the gates of our community and the support that's out there outside the gates of our community and the lowering of expectations that is continually happening in society around us. I'm very proud to say that that is not something we would ever accept here in this community, particularly with the team that we have here. And I just wanted to share that moment of pride. It was kind of the silver lining in all those experiences of sitting in airports and planes and everything else that happened. It was quite incredible. So, Carol, I see your hand is up.
Well,
I had occasion to need the medical team, and just another place where we are so lucky and it's such an outstanding group and team that works for us and with us and gives us such support. And I really feel so appreciative to be here and to acknowledge that.
I feel the same way, Carol. I was beaming with pride after I had the time to digest the awful trip, because you just realize here's, a corporation's worth billions of dollars and they can't even come within 500 yards of getting it right. And here we have the special community where we communicate to each other. And yeah, as a leadership team, of course we mess up, but then we have discussions about it and then we get back on the tracks and the intent is always there. And so I just wanted to share that because it was fairly profound for me. And, as these things happen, I think it's impactful to share with the community. So some good news outside of sitting in airports. We do not have any COVID cases in independent living, which is absolutely terrific news. You'll see in my letter that we usually average between 2 to 4 cases on a weekly basis. That's been pretty consistent since the pandemic really cooled off a little bit. But to have no cases at all is absolutely exceptional. But at the same time, I am seeing a fair amount of colds and respiratory illnesses and things along those lines. So just because we're at 0 doesn't mean the risk does not exist. There's also been some strange colds going around that have really lingered for quite a long time. And, make sure to wash your hands. That's first and foremost. You wash your hands. That's your first line of defense. Last week, the security team sent out the guidelines, the COVID protocols, as a reminder to everybody. And I'm just going to iterate them again very quickly. If you're ill, stay home. If you're exposed, put a mask on and refrain from dining for 5 days. On the simplest level, if you do those 2 things, you are helping to protect yourself and the people within this community. And so I just want to thank you for all the support when it comes to managing this. I can tell you, comparatively to other communities, we are managing and have fared this significantly better than some of the other communities out there. And I have the ability, and I'm fortunate enough to talk with a lot of the other executive directors. And I can honestly say that's primarily because of all of you, because you take this seriously. So thank you. A little bit of a solar update. After a grueling 1.5 years of trying to figure out how to get solar on this campus, the dream has finally plunged to the bottom of the ocean. So property insurance on a community of this size is not an easy thing to get. And it is incredibly expensive. And the HSL corporate team works so hard to secure it for us. And unfortunately, our insurer is not willing to insure us if we put solar on the roofs or anywhere on this campus for that matter. For them, it creates an increased risk of fire hazards and things along those lines. And so even though there's an intersection between sustainability and risk, right now with the insurance market the way it is, it's not in the cards for us. So I would say let's look at it next year, but that's not even an option at that point either because our roofs are aging. And we would have to remove all the solar to replace the roofs, which just doesn't make good fiscal sense. So this one will be revisited probably 14 years down the road. I know that's quite a long look down the road, but we're not talking about a couple 100 square feet of roofing. We're talking about football fields of roofing.
So Terry has her hand up. Terry, go ahead.
The story you just told us, I know that there was an issue with the wind turbine on the campus that would be in the path of the plane's landing in Norwood on their descent path. I mean, that's what I was told anyway. But this is a big campus, and there should be some place where we might possibly be able to use a wind tower. It doesn't have to be close to the buildings. I didn't know if anything like that had been investigated.
I haven't looked that too deeply into it at this point, Terry, but I can tell you that I've learned a tremendous amount through the process. For example, how do you trench to the main power source? How do you backfeed it into the system? How does the substation handle power?
Sure.
And how is somebody, and there's always somebody, how is somebody making money? And that's probably the number one thing involved in this whole thing, because the dollars that are out there, that's being put out there by the state, is being managed by the local utilities. And then you have smaller companies that are going out there and setting these deals up and applying for the incentives and the rebates and all that stuff. And those companies, if they're putting this stuff out there with their own money, they're obviously looking for a return on their investment. And so I haven't delved too deep, but that's just kind of a quick cursory look at what I've learned on the larger macro scale. So it's
from the federal government, there's no opportunity to get some kind of support?
Feds are pushing it through the states, and the states are pushing it through the local utility providers.
It's too bad.
Yeah, it's convoluted. It's messy. It is really, really messy. But food for thought and certainly something worth thinking about. So that was kind of disappointing because you can imagine there was a lot of work that went into that.
Sure, yeah.
But that's where we are on that. Similarly, we've been thinking a lot about the campus, particularly with our new CEO, Steve Landers. He wants to get a really good feel for what our capital needs are on this campus. So in terms of what needs to be improved upon, what needs to be replaced, what do we need to have in 5 years? What do we need to have in 10 years? So we're working with an outside vendor that is going through the entire campus and refreshing our capital plan to identify what needs replacement and when, and then the projected and associated cost with that. So that's going to be a good roadmap for us. In addition to that, we have an expert that travels around the country and looks at senior living communities and compares and contrasts them all to each other. So she was here today and going through some units and common areas and all those kind of things to give us her feedback as well, so we could actually start to build a very robust capital plan. This is critically important, and it's not critically important necessarily for this year or next year. This is critically important for long-term planning and sustainability. So that work has been very heavy. There's been a lot of people involved. I see Fernando just put his hand up. He's been incredibly involved. And I just want you all to know that that is happening in the background right now.
Let's take Bob and then get to Fernando. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, I just want to say to Matt, I've flown to Portland, Oregon quite a few times. Alaska Airlines has been tremendous, but Alaska Airlines has been battling the door that flew open in one of the planes. And I can understand if a catastrophe like that happened at Newbridge, it might upset a few people. And I'm defending the airline a little bit.
Well, that's okay, Bob. You can defend them because American Airlines was certainly no better getting home.
Well, Alaska Airlines is terrific.
They were great on the flight out. The flight back they canceled, and then I just had another horrific experience with American. It was just bad travel. It was just bad.
Okay.
But fair enough.
We'll move on to Fernando. Go ahead.
Thank you all. I know Matt was just talking about the capital needs assessment, so I think I'd chime in. They need to enter a certain amount of residents' homes in order to complete this capital needs assessment. If anybody is willing to let us go ahead and just go into their home and take a quick look, you don't necessarily have to be home because I will be with these individuals. If you are willing to let us into your home, if you could just send me a quick email and let me know what apartment you're in. We're probably looking at next Thursday and the following Monday. So if anybody is willing to let us into their home so they can take a quick look, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Barbara Charlin.
Yeah, hi. I'm not sure this is the idea of capital expenditures, but I was wondering if we're thinking of or working on and what the progress is in getting charging stations for cars.
Great question. So we've engaged a company, Barbara, called New Wave. And New Wave did all of our lighting retrofits here, all the LED fixtures on this campus. We're working with them, and right now they're working on getting the incentives and rebates lined up. And so we've already walked the campus. We have them coming out again to identify the locations. The key for the charging stations happens to be where your power sources are located. I'm also very interested in this, Barbara. I drive an electric vehicle, so I've got some personal skin in the game on that one. But so it's in process. In fact, I put it as one of my goals for the year.
Any idea of when we might see them? Or is that
I would be afraid to give you a definite. My experience so far has been, well, I just got burned by the solar thing, so I'm hoping pretty soon, but.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I'm not sure I know who Judy's phone is. Would you identify yourself? Oh, no. Go ahead.
It's my phone, but I don't know why it's coming on the screen.
Hi, Rabbi.
That's really spooky. I didn't switch it on. I don't know why it's showing up. Just ignore it, please.
Oh, okay. All right, Barbara Needich.
Fernando, two questions. First of all, you can put me down without an email as coming into my beautiful apartment. Or do you need an email for that? Fernando?
Nope, I got you on my list.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, Barbara.
The other question I have, oh, do I get a commission for that, by the way?
No, you gotta pay me.
Oh, okay. The other question I have, and it's not just our apartment, but there seems to be an issue with some friendly mice that are running around. I get the issue of putting traps in and so on and so forth, but I was reading a very interesting article today that charcoal is something that rodents don't like, and they will stay away from it at all cost. I just wondered if that's something that could be explored. But more important, do you have any clue as to where these lovely mice might be coming from?
The field.
Yeah, this is not unique to Newbridge. This is happening everywhere across the state. I've actually talked to some of my counterparts in other facilities, not even HSL facilities, and they're having the same issue. At this point in time, if you see one-stop shop, let us know so we can start targeting these areas. Just so people know, a mouse will not travel more than 30 feet from where they're nesting. So if we know exactly where you're seeing them, it gives us a kind of a pinpoint target area as to where we can target these. We are on top of it. We understand the frustration to some point, but like I said, this is not unique to Newbridge. This is happening everywhere. As for the charcoal, I'd have to look into that, but I would imagine that that's only keeping them from coming from the outside to the inside. Our pest control company, we do have traps all along the perimeter of the buildings as well, which they check on a weekly basis. So the best thing for us is to, if you see one, let us know, give us the exact location of where you saw them so we can start pinpointing these areas.
Well, my friendly mouse seems to have gotten smaller, so I suspect that the cousins and relatives have come out to say hi. I really like you, so I'm going to stay here.
I think we're going to stop this conversation, okay, and move on because it's very specific, and you can get offline with that. Terry Union, you have a question.
So you're speaking of mice. I just wondered what success the 28 or so people who said they had an issue of clothing moths, just as I do, they have had with the exterminator who's come to our units to set traps. Have you seen a lot of moths being caught? Have you still had issues, even though you have these things there that the moths are supposed to want to eat and they land and get stuck to the material on the cardboard?
So just for clarification, in the beginning, the 28 individuals that stayed on the call, of those 28 individuals, I think there were 7 that actually had any signs whatsoever. So just point of clarity, and then Fernando, I'll let you field the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, to my knowledge, at this point in time, everyone that we've treated, they've been fine except for yours, Terry. And I believe they were in there 2 weeks ago to treat. I'm not sure if they've gone back, but no, once we got that initial issue with all those moths, they came out treated, and we haven't been having anything from any other residents.
Fernando, you'll see a note on the side that Dean has put out there in the chat. Let's get her on the list.
If you are seeing them, you got to let us know. Call One Stop Shop, and we put in a work order for the pest control company to go out there and look at it. But if you don't tell us, we don't know. So if you're having that issue,
they didn't spray the floorboards like other companies do. So the moth eggs, they lay their eggs sometimes around the floorboard where the carpet hits the. So maybe that's something you can talk to them about, what they think of spraying.
Terry, we'll talk to them.
In addition to hanging little things.
It's in their interest.
Sidebar on this, Terry, if you're still having issues.
It's in their interest to resolve everything because they get paid to resolve it. And the more
Oh, yeah.
time they spend on it, the less they're making. So,
Okay, let's move on. Matt?
all right. The last one is just a quick update on the 5,000 elevator, the FE1 elevator. I was talking with Fernando earlier. So we have the valve, but we are waiting on the pump. So we have some progress happening here, but it's just not to my liking just yet. So just a quick update for everybody. And then tomorrow, if you see a lot of people, employees in the synagogue, we're having an employee town hall. And I do this once a quarter where we get together with all the employees. We kind of talk about what's happening at Newbridge, what we need to be focused on, what's happening at HSL. We might do a little training piece, and then we do the impact award winners at that time. And I'll announce with you at a later time who those winners are. So see a lot of employees in the synagogue area. That's what's going on. And it's 2:00 in the afternoon tomorrow.
Good.
Okay, that does it. I'm sorry, there's a hand raised with Judy's iPhone, but I'm not going to recognize that. If we have to have an identification of a full name. So I think we're all set for today. We'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you.